Hello, you are listening to Between Sets. This is Fuzz.
I'm Mike.
Mike. How you doing?
Mike. I feel like that's becoming a bit of a thing.
Oh, is that someone mentioned it to you?
It wasn't intentional originally, and now suddenly it's, I feel like it's wrong if I don't do that. Yeah.
I think you can start your own podcast now and just call it Mike. It sounds like it's coming across like you are trying to start something with all these videos that are going out all of a sudden.
I'm trying to make a conscious effort to be more present on social media, because as much as what we do here, I'm not good on social media, man. I'm not good.
No, you got to start somewhere.
Yeah, I post very rarely. Today's experience was a whole thing. Realizing that Instagram is crap for posting longer videos.
Yeah, it's just a minute, or if you post it as a video itself rather than a reel, it's 2 minutes.
It ended up being about 6 minutes long or so, but
that's mental. That's a TikTok.
Yeah.
Mate, imagine if you were trying to do Vines.
Oh yeah, God! Back in the day, we're showing our age now. Leave us a comment if you know what a Vine is.
Oh come on! Surely everyone that's listening knows what a Vine is. Was it just 7 seconds? Is that right?
Something like that, I think.
It was. I think it was just like, or 14 seconds maybe. But it was definitely a multiple of 7. I don't know why I remember.
A fair few years at this point, but yeah, I feel like most people who listen to this, they would know what a Vine is.
The amount of famous YouTubers that started through Vines, people don't realise.
Yeah, I would agree.
Anyway,
how's your January been so far?
My January, I can't believe it's the 19th of January, mate. It's mental.
Yeah.
Or if you're listening to this,
going quick.
Yeah, it is going quick. There's a lot happening this month. There's a lot happening. There's big news.
Mm-hmm.
I've gone headfirst into self-employment very early on in the year. It was kind of off plan, but exciting stuff. So a lot to talk about there. Hasn't really got to be this episode. I'm not really sure what's on the agenda today, to be honest. But yeah, crazy month so far.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, at some point in time, you'll plan to go self-employed, and then more often than not, your hands gets forced in some way or another. But yeah, it's just one of those things. You'll make it work, it is what it is.
How about you? How's your month?
I mean, I spent the first portion of it ill, obviously, but I'm now getting back into my stride in terms of training. So I've been consistent all this week, which is good. Diet's been good. Yeah, it's starting to tick over quite nicely. Obviously trying to be more present with social media stuff. So trying to post a lot of videos out, asking questions, which kind of leads me into the fitness topic I was going to plan on talk about today, which I think is quite an interesting one. I've discussed it a
boring. Fucking hell, Mike. I've been listening to your fucking TikToks for the last 2 days. Have I got to listen to them again?
What you're saying is you can't get enough.
I can't get enough of your alcoholism talks. No, I need another one of these.
So I mean, this is somewhat of an exclusive. So I've discussed this with a few people, like during PT sessions, between sets. So it's an interesting topic, I think, and I think it's something you'll have an interesting opinion on, actually. So not necessarily gym related, but fitness related in general, and it is your gym or fitness identity. And I'll give you an example. So, you know how some people come into the gym and they're the strong guy, right? Or you get some people that come in and they do like these crazy cardio sessions, all this kind of stuff. And my question is, I suppose the point I want to raise is, what happens if ever you receive an injury and you can't be that person? Right, so your whole identity.
It is really funny that you bring that up, because my wife sprained her ankle yesterday.
Okay.
Never in my life have I ever felt like a single parent. Fuck in hell.
Really?
Oh my God, it's tough. Like, I fully respect the single parents out there. Jesus Christ.
So she's fully not able to help do anything, really?
No. Sorry, I've completely taken the shine away from your agenda.
No. I mean, it's very valid. Like, so what did she do? Just go over on it?
Well, I was working here. I was at work here now. This is what I do now. I'm basically unemployed. I was editing a few videos with my headphones on, like completely soundproof, and I could just hear something in the background. I'm like, what's going on? She tripped up coming through the back door, and that's not euphemism. And she was just on the floor, on the kitchen floor, that hard stone floor. Thank God she wasn't holding Ted at this point. And she was just going, I've hurt myself. And I was just like, okay, just stay where you are. I'll support you. And she passed out.
Oh, shit.
And I was just like, this is bad. What's happening?
Yeah.
Like, there's no way to break, because a break, I've broken my ankle before, and it's not, like, it doesn't hurt straight away. Whereas a sprain does. Or ligament tear.
So, yeah.
Anyway, it is just a minor sprain, and I'm hoping she can't hear me. I'm going to whisper into the mic like this. Yeah, it's just a minor sprain. She passed out.
Yeah.
But I was there for her until she stood up and she was like, I'm okay now. And then I laughed. You have to wait at least, but I mean, you can't laugh there and then.
Well, I think that's
anyway, we're divorced now. I'm joking.
I feel like that's the first sign that you're getting old. It's like if you fall over and nobody laughs, everyone's concerned, you're old.
Yeah. You're old when somebody goes, oh, they had a fall. That's when you're old.
Yeah. It's like 100%. If anything, you should really wind her up about that. She'll appreciate it, I think.
She had a fall.
Yeah. But I mean,
anyway,
like you mentioned with your, so you've done your Achilles tendon before and like ankle and stuff like this, and before that you were kind of big into basketball and stuff like this. So I guess the point I want to raise is like everyone, and myself included, because I'm guilty of this as well. We get drawn into this like gym persona that we think other people perceive us as having. But if and or when we get some kind of injury that prevents that happening, what do we then do? Do you continue to? Because what I generally see is people repeatedly trying to do the same thing and repeatedly getting injured because they can't step away and do something else. Do you see what I mean?
Is this similar to what I struggle with the bicep curls and the bar and the dumbbells? Is it that when I said to you, remember, I was just like, right, I can't. It really does hurt my forearms. I'm just going to stop it now because I've injured them a couple of times. Now I just use cables for my biceps. Is that what we're talking about? A similar thing?
Yeah, a similar sort of thing, but. So I'll give an example for myself. So, I mean, that's just what you're doing there is just sensible training, right? So you want to train your biceps, good, valid. But if you do X exercise that hurts your forearms and there's no point doing that, right? You can train in plenty of other ways where you're not going to get pain, but still get development, essentially. So, I mean, I'm going back probably about a year or so where my body weight was up. I was holding on to quite a reasonable amount of muscle, I would say. I think this was just before we probably started training, I would say. But my training intensity was really, really high because I was working with bodybuilders. I was pushing them as well. And I just started picking up injuries, like some of which have only just started to dissipate. So like my knees, my wrists, they, just wear and tear stuff generally and not looking after myself. And I suddenly reached this point where it's like, well, I can't carry on training with this intensity. So what do I do? And as a trainer, you kind of want to lead by example to an extent. So it's a bit of an ego hit where you can't suddenly train the way you used to. You've got to get a little bit smarter. You've got to train around stuff. You've got to work around stuff. So I've not been able to train as intensely, but I think it's been a bit of a wake-up call for me because I love training with intensity, but I think it really needs to be smart as well. But for other people, let's say, I use guys as an example because it's the stereotypical one. The strong guy that comes into the gym, always wanting to lift heavy, always lifting like towards the top end of the max. They get injured, but they can't come away from that. They can't try something else. And it's just really interesting because we get so tied up in this thing. We go to this place and these random people you don't see anywhere else in your day. They're not like you see them anywhere else. You just see them daily at roughly the same time. We're so tied up in their opinion of us. It's really interesting. I can't think of another example that's the same.
Yeah, I can't really relate to that at all. I've not really seen it firsthand, but it does sound like it's a lack of knowledge based on the fact that their ego is so high, there's so much of an ego that they wouldn't even get a personal trainer or find someone like this is. I don't want to boost your ego now, but like personal trainers.
Please do. I need it.
Sorry, I need to beat that now. Personal trainers vary so much, and you are extremely knowledgeable. To the point where it's actually boring. You're extremely knowledgeable. Yeah. You're extremely knowledgeable in it all, which is just amazing and it's very inspiring. And obviously, it's inspired me to the point where I'm obviously studying it myself now. But then you got some trainers that are just doing it because it's a way to get money, and they're getting out of their house and they're doing their own hours. And there's no passion as such for it. There's still trainers that you go to the gym and they're just looking at themselves in the mirror rather than actually looking at their client's posture and their client's techniques. And it is a struggle, and I think people do struggle to trust personal trainers once they've had a bad personal trainer.
Yeah, that's interesting.
It is interesting. It is a fact that I would 100% say that's a fact, because I found myself in a similar situation, and I was quite lucky. Obviously, our first guest, Scott, I was quite lucky that I found Scott, because before that, I had a very poor experience with a personal trainer. Where at the end of the day, you're paying somebody between 40 and 50 quid nowadays an hour. You want to be utilizing that time. And with yourself, again, this is the last time I ever compliment you ever. With yourself, I'm not even asking for a training lesson. You are, every time we go through each exercise, you tell me, and you repeat yourself every single time. And I'm not saying that's annoying, because I do forget, but you will tell me exactly what muscle we're training, exactly what's happening, exactly like what sort of stretches you should be doing after the training, and anything and everything. And that's the information that you should be paying for, not. Well, I guess that obviously everyone's different. Like, people prefer classes, and I fully respect that as well. And I want to try some of that myself, really. But you know what I mean? Like, people are put off by that, and then they just go down their own journey. And as you say, they only know this one exercise that will build that one muscle, and they just can't get away from that. But funnily enough, they're the sort of people that will watch a TikTok video, and even though it's completely wrong, they'll take it as fact, and they'll try it at the gym.
I mean, one of the most irritating sentences that I come across, it's not aimed at me specifically, but I hear is, "Oh, I saw this exercise on TikTok. It's okay if they're asking, what do you think about this?" And there's some really valid stuff on TikTok. Like, absolutely, there's some really valid stuff all over the place on social media. But there's a lot of nonsense. There's a huge amount of nonsense.
But with
I
yourself,
think,
like, you can validate that. Like, you have knowledge to go, right, actually, this is the reason why it's nonsense. And you use some long words that I can't even remember. Whereas if I was going, that's nonsense because Mike said so, that's basically my point of view. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, fine. I mean, I've said this before, but I think people really need to establish a really good bullshit filter. You don't need to know everything. You need to know just enough to know, I'm not sure on that. Like, at least fact check stuff. Like, when something comes up, you're not going to take it as gospel straight away. You have to kind of go away and go, this doesn't sound right. I need to check this and do a little bit of research, and don't just look at it and go, I'm doing that. For all intents and purposes, you'll probably be fine, but there are some stuff I see, it's just, that's going to cause an injury, that's going to cause problems. But I think it comes down to, like, individual styles as well. So where I like to explain the why of what we're doing, and it comes from me personally. I fully understand this, because when I'm trying to learn something, when I understand the why of doing something, I know it's not just random. If I understand the why, then it gets cemented in my brain, and I'm more likely to adhere to that as well, rather than just blindly going along with it. Some people don't want to be explained to. They don't want to understand the nuts and bolts, the whys. They just want to be told, we're doing this, this is how we're doing it, do that. Which is perfectly valid. It's, it is what it
100%.
is.
Like, from my point of view, I just literally go to the gym now as a meditation. That, like, I don't really think about what I'm doing now, because obviously I've been going there for almost 2 years now. I literally just go in, and some days I don't even open up the TrainerWise app. I just go, I know what I'm doing, I'm just going to crack on with it. And I just feel so much better through the day, just for that an hour and a half at the gym. And it just flies by. I can't even, some days I don't even remember going to the gym. I think it's because I go so early in the day.
Yeah, I mean, I'm surprised you're awake that early, like, all the time. I know why I am, because I'm getting paid to be there, like, but you're voluntarily getting up at that time, just away we go. But it's credit, if it works for you, that's the main thing. Yeah, I mean, it's like you say, like, that routine that you're in as well. Like, you don't really need to think. You know what session you're going to be hitting on any given day. You know exactly what exercise is going to be. You know what order going to be, and you know what weights you're going to be lifting. It frees up a lot of capacity mentally to then go, right, let's focus on the how we're going about this exercise, not just I'm going through the motions.
I know people get bored of the same sort of routine. It's good to, like as you said earlier, like, you shouldn't be going in the gym every single day and lifting ridiculously heavy weights. But I like, what I'd say 3 or 4 times a year at most, just have a session where you're just testing waters again, just seeing how much you can actually, like, beat a personal best, sort of thing.
And we did it with your bench press. I don't know if you remember. We've never really done any barbell bench press because it's not really aligned with your goals. But it goes to show how strong you've gotten on other exercises, which can then be applied across, because you were bench pressing more than a lot of people manage in their general gym career without ever actually doing the exercise, which it kind of speaks volumes. You don't need to do a specific exercise to get stronger.
A machine, though, so I'm just joking.
Well, you have been told this specifically now. You've been told this in the gym.
I can't remember what it was. When was it? It was about 6 months ago now, wasn't it? That I'd say.
I think it was over summer. Yes, I think it was around August sort of time.
I can't remember what it was. Was it like 140? I think.
Yeah, it was definitely getting up there. I remember 120 went up for 3. So yeah, like that's a decent bench, especially considering you don't do the exercise.
Yeah. Not bad. Yeah, we'll try that again next week. That's really boring. We're talking about us again, aren't we? Well, I guess that's the whole point of the podcast, isn't it?
It's fine.
We're talking about
this is entirely to feed my ego. Like, come on.
Anyway, did you do your homework? Did you watch Traitors?
I messaged you about this.
Did you?
Yeah. So I genuinely, with the best intentions, I found Traitors with Claudia What's Her Chops. I got about 10 minutes in. They were lined up outside. They were doing some stupid little order thing, and then they started talking, and I turned it off because I could feel a little bit of me dying.
So it's not. You just have to stick with it. I think the first season was a lot more like engaging in the first episode. Right. So the second season, people just knew what to expect. So I think they weren't trying so hard.
See,
but
I've never watched the first season, but I couldn't get past the people.
That's fine.
There were 2 people. I remember the point.
You failed your homework,
2 people sat on a sofa. They both happened to be veterinary nurses, nurses, and they were both shocked and amazed that they both were doing this same job. And I'm going to turn you off. Thanks.
I guess so. You are walking into it blind. I want to know how many of our listeners are like thinking that I'm just a weirdo now that watch it. Thing is, it's not really a reality show as much as it is. Like, it's not Big Brother. Big Brother is just a load of shit. You're basically letting your life go and just engaging with someone else's life. Whereas with Traitors, it's all about how they're able to lie to everyone in front of them about everything. Because there's every single day, 2 people have to go. People have to be pushed out of. They get voted out.
You've been evicted from the Big Brother house.
Yeah. Oh, it's not like fucking Big Brother, mate. It is, isn't it? It really is. Basically, it's Big Brother, but 2 people go every day. That's it, I guess. But oh god, I can't explain it. It's so good. Maybe it's Claudia Winkleman that does it for me. Maybe that's what it is.
I mean, yeah, you've mentioned this a few times now. I think it might just be the Fringe doing it for you.
It's the Fringe.
But yeah, I mean, it's an interesting. So aside from never actually having watched Traitors or how the first season ended, they've actually been quite a lot of studies done about, and it's to do with psychopaths in populations.
You and your fucking studies, man.
I love a good study. What can I say? But it's the same premise. I think they had 12 people, and 2 people within that group are looking to deceive and manipulate. And the deal is that the 2 traitors have to know, or in this case, the 2 traitors have to know that they are both traitors. And I think it's something like 95% of cases, the 2 deceptive parties, so long as they know they are both deceptive, will trick the rest of the population. So in theory, provided there's no manipulation going on in that group, the traitors should always win. Because there's 3 out of, I can't remember how many people there were, 20 odd.
Okay.
Yeah, but the traitors should win, technically.
Yeah. Well, yeah, and they did last season. The thing is, what I like to watch it, and I'd like to kind of opinionate on what I would do differently. Because I would say that I'm quite a good actor. I'm quite a good liar in that sense, because I'm quite a good actor. Because the way I do it, like, I don't like to lie. I hate lying. But the way I do it is I just convince myself, no, I absolutely hate lying. Do you know why? Because I can't remember fucking anything. So I don't lie because I can't remember what I lied about, and it just causes anxiety. When I was a kid, I used to lie quite a lot, and it just caused so much anxiety that I've just stopped lying. Can't be asked for that.
I think so.
Everything I have no filter now.
When you look at like psychopathic traits and like people who like narcissists, like psychopathic narcissists, and like people who lie. Again, this is going down interest in psychology and things like this. They will. They're very clever about how they manipulate people and how they incorporate lies into their stories. They slip lies in to make themselves appear more grandiose, look better, essentially, but they envelop it in some level of truth. So it might be that, I was having a chat with so and so, and that person would corroborate that this conversation happened, but I would add in details to make myself look better based on that conversation. So that if someone didn't check
that is a lie, but is that also because their self-esteem is extremely low?
No, it's the exact opposite. The self-esteem is through the roof. For the most part, like they just, but they have a real need for other people to recognise that they are as good as they say they are.
But surely that's because their self-esteem's low, no? That's the way I would see it, anyway.
It should. So, I suppose,
like everyone kind of sometimes.
Self-esteem is probably the wrong way of thinking about it, but they perceive themselves as better than they actually are in a lot of cases.
And they have to convince themselves.
And they try to manipulate people to think to approve that opinion. So yeah, I mean, it could come down to like low self-esteem, I suppose, in a way.
That's the way I look at it normally, anyway. But
it's interesting.
Where are we going with that? I forgot where we were going with that now.
Audley Winkleman's Fringe.
How the fuck have we got from Audley Winkleman's Fringe to Psychopaths?
Yeah,
and then self-esteem. This podcast is fucked.
It is what it is.
It's pretty impressive how we've done that.
That's exactly. This is how our gym sessions go. We just end up talking about random stuff,
I want to know what I would love to be a fly on the wall when, like, with you training other people. I want to know what, like, I think it's you. I think you're the common denominator. You just talk about random shit.
I think you might be
based on studies normally.
What's really interesting is I have some of these kind of conversations where I can't remember what it was. I had a conversation with one of my clients before, and it was to do with their company, and they I don't know, you might have come across this, where they basically have a color wheel, where the color blue equates to certain personality traits, and yellow equates to others, and red equates to some, and red is essentially like aggression and wanting to, all this kind of stuff. And they have to do these personality quizzes, and I was kind of disagreeing with the whole premise, because they were going through these different quizzes and answering questions. They were being given scores like, oh, you're 50% in the red and 30% in green, and so on and so on. And that they use that score to determine how their line managers interact with that person. It just feels like a cop-out. It feels like a real cop-out to me, because that person, let's say that a person's having a bad day, they're going to answer that questionnaire differently.
This is it. Tired, like, I hate it's based on an algorithm again. Like, Facebook and TikTok and fucking Instagram are already winning. Don't give the algorithm away to bloody, that's my nut in. Like, you should basically base it on how the interview goes, and then the 2 years or the 6 month probation. That's what it's there for. Don't just judge on a fucking Wheel of Fortune bollocks.
Yeah. But it came down to the fact that, and I'm paraphrasing slightly because I've not dealt with this system entirely. It might be more sophisticated than I give it credit for, but they will have developmental meetings, and this is genuinely valued, like in the way that people learn in different ways. So some people are very practical, some people need to be shown something and then give the opportunity to do it. And that is like, if you ever where I've trained other people before, you get taught that your leadership style, your training style might differ to somebody's learning style, and it's up to the trainer to adapt to the trainee so that they can actually learn from you correctly. But they were being informed based on this questionnaire. Like, it takes time to actually get to know how someone learns, and it's kind of a trial and error process, essentially, like, see what works. If you're going based on a questionnaire based on how someone feels on any given day, it's not. I don't think it's valid.
I'm hoping that by our age, though, we know what and how we learn. Do you know what I mean? Like, if you're going to be, what's that?
I think you're. Well, I think you should, but I don't think a lot of people do. I know you will, because and I know I do, because we're quite analytical, I would say. Yeah. But I think a lot of people would struggle if they actually said, right, here's a thing you need to learn. How are you going to go about it? I think people would struggle. I do.
The thing is, as well, you are right. Like, but people will. So when I train people, I'll ask them, "How do you like? What's the quickest way for you to learn? Is it by doing it yourself, or is it by watching me, or would you like me to write it down for you? Do you want to write it down yourself? Like a whole list of things." And somebody will go, "Actually, no, I learn a lot better by just doing it myself."
Yep.
And then they'll take it back after like half an hour in. They're like, "Actually, I don't. This isn't going in. Can we try
They
a
don't
different
know.
approach?"
They don't know until
Yeah,
they've seen it. But bringing it back to personal training, but this is something that I do. So for you, for example, you're quite verbal in terms of I need to give you verbal instructions, and then you learn by doing, and then we make slight adjustments as we
yeah.
go through. Other people, I need to show them an entire set. And I genuinely do this. Like I'll show them an entire set. I'll talk them through. Right, this is the position, and it changes over time as well, which is interesting, especially with something that's physical, because we start to develop muscle memory and stuff like this. So a complete beginner will be very different to somebody who's coming in as an intermediate or an advanced trainer,
It's
or
just how
trainee,
your
I should
brain
say.
works. Like
But
everyone's
it's
brain works so
yeah,
differently.
it's really interesting, really, really interesting.
Like there's so many
Um,
people that have ADHD that don't realize they have ADHD.
mm,
There's so many people that have stuff wrong with their brain that they just don't realize.
mm.
But I think it's just now we've just evolved so differently as humans that I honestly feel like everyone's on the spectrum somewhere. Everyone
Oh,
is.
100%. Like
Yeah.
I'm sure if I had a psychologist analyze me, trust me, I'm up there. I'll be somewhere on there, I guarantee it. Because I like my routines, I like
The
learning
thing is
things, I
that
like doing.
they'll give you the answer, and then you're like, "I'm going to do a study on this."
Well, actually, this study says this. It is
So
interesting though, because like you were discussing about like ADHD before and things like this. It's really interesting because I guess I wasn't
sorry if
necessarily
you can hear a
aware of
baby
it as
crying,
much
by the way.
before. No, you're good.
Okay.
But I don't know if I wasn't necessarily aware of it before, but it becomes really apparent because even just random people I'll have a chat with in the gym, they'll ask me questions. I'll be in the middle of giving them their answer, and they're asking me another question. I'm like, oh, hang on, whoa, hang on, I've got not fit. And I know I go into detail, and people get bored and stuff, but yeah, like I'll be 10 seconds into an
I
answer,
am
and then
guilty of that. I won't lie. I've just done
yeah,
it.
but it's valid because it's like, well, okay, but there's a reason for that, and I suppose I don't know the best way around it either. I
It's
suppose trying to get
impatience. It is
people.
literally impatience, and it's keeping people
Mm,
engaged, and that's something that um, boosting my own ego, I feel like I'm quite good at because I struggle with it myself. So, like,
mm,
for instance, social media, right? You need to have it very quick, the information there and then. As soon as you, especially on TikTok, and don't take this personally, but on TikTok, like as soon as you start saying or anything like that, and if there's no
mm,
graphics, and if there's no, do you know what the biggest one is nowadays? Is captions, having subtitles on your videos. People will just skip if you haven't, and it's
really.
mental. And as humans now, we are like social media and TikTok and stuff. It that's the main. I would say anyway. I've not done studies, but that is the root cause. I would say to a lot of our impatience today. We are extremely impatient.
Because we have so much information readily available, and if we don't like something, we can just go on to the next thing
Yeah,
straight away.
exactly. It is just.
Yeah.
It is the same. It is literally the same mechanics as a fruit machine.
Mm,
It's the same thing. Your brain just wants that instant hit of dopamine or whatever it is. Of
yeah.
you know what I mean.
Yeah.
And that if because we're so used to getting that every like 5 seconds through TikTok, if the
Mm.
first few seconds aren't engaging enough, they will just swipe you. It's just crazy.
See,
It's unbelievable. Whereas
now
10 years ago, it'd be a completely different ball game.
even though you said that, and I know that I should be doing that type of stuff, I'm so bad with social media. I can't bring myself to.
But what you're aiming nowadays is you've only got two goals right now, which is
Mm,
to improve your conversations with yourself in front of a camera, which is it's
yeah.
quite a skill set in itself. I won't
Oh, for
lie.
sure.
And then it's and then it's tackling that side of it. But you can't just go from 0 to 100 within like a few videos. Right now,
Yep.
you're engaging your current clients, and they're watching because they know what to expect from you.
Yep.
Whereas
Yep.
it's the clients it's the people that are watching it that are like, who the fuck is this guy? Swipe. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah. Yeah. And I think yeah, it's exactly that. It's trying to build that audience so people know what to expect, but it also gives you that level of credibility. It's like, okay, this person knows what they're talking about, as opposed to
Yeah.
muggins with 2 videos on TikTok that are too long and boring.
Well, this is it. You got to grab their attention in the first 5 seconds, and that's all you've got. Not even that anymore. You've got like 2 seconds to really capture their attention, and then you can
do you know
start
what it
talking
is?
shit.
I'm very conscious of, you know, the social media trend where they lead with. Do you remember the term negging in terms of like it was like in the early 2000s or something where like someone would give a backhanded compliment to somebody, which is actually like negative in a way of like winning them over. I feel like
Kind
social
of,
media
yeah.
goes that way. It's like, don't do this thing; it'll ruin your gains. In the context of like muscle building, I just don't want to be that person, you know.
Yeah. The thing is, it's also another one is, especially on TikTok and social media, it's really hard. And even though they're fully qualified, it's really hard to take people seriously when they're talking about bodybuilding and they're not big, or if they're talking about weight loss and actually they're quite overweight. Yeah,
Yep.
it is because you don't know who they are. You're judging them in the first few seconds, as we do naturally as humans, and then we just like swipe. Like we laugh about it.
Yep.
We're like, why the fuck should I listen to this person? And then swipe.
Not 100%. And it's one of these things where you have coaches who will coach people through some dodgy weight loss using drugs and all this kind of stuff because they look the part and they will get a huge amount of money for that. Whereas actually they're doing quite a lot of damage, both to the industry in
I
terms of
don't think that'll
reputation.
ever change. Like,
Yep, 100%. I mean, I can speak from experiences from that one as well. I have been more muscular than I am at the moment. I'm talking like 10 kilos heavier. Um, I'm not trying to sound big-headed, but like I was in good shape, but I noticed I was getting more and more and more clients. Not because my training was any different, not because my knowledge was any different. It's no different to what it is now. Essentially, I mean, I've learned a few new things in the past year or so. But the reason I do that, I get heavier to maintain strength, to get stronger to build muscle. I try and maintain that strength because I don't like to be heavier. Like my heart rate goes up, my HRV goes up, my blood pressure goes up. Like those are markers that health wise, it's bad for me to be that much heavier. This is a good weight for me. I can sway 2 or 3 kilos either way and I'm good.
But you're showing
it is interesting.
discipline. I think it's just different because you are showing discipline. As long as you are fit, healthy, and you're going to the gym frequently, you're showing the discipline, you're showing the knowledge, and people would respect that and listen to you. Do you know what I mean? I think discipline is the number one key, I would say, to becoming a successful personal trainer, because you need to set a standard and you need to eat your own dog food. That's that's what I say a lot. Is like, if you're giving 100%. Advice, you need to take it yourself. You need to be following the same path.
Yeah, I mean, I can confidently say there is. I mean, you'll know I give some pretty nasty exercises and sets out, but there is genuinely no set or exercise that I give out that I haven't done myself.
Yeah,
and I think that's just, I don't know, it's almost in a way of being respectful to your clients, because who am I to give someone some awful thing if I'm not prepared to do it myself?
Exactly, yeah. And then you know where you stand, because like you're providing, let's just say you're running a class, people aren't going to come back to that class if you're literally killing them, like literally, like if you're not giving them any like breaks, if you're not, you need to know how long somebody should be doing like a punch bag for, or without passing out, at a sustainable level. Like Zara, I went to, obviously I've been filming for Zara at Snap Fitness, and it's been quite, it's quite good. It's been quite good for me to witness that, because she's really good at classes, I would say.
Yeah.
I've not really been to that many classes before, to be honest, but she's very engaging, and she runs it on her own experience of like, right, do this for a minute, then have a break. Do this for a minute, then have a break, rather than just constantly go, which is something that obviously inexperienced people would do.
Yeah, on the subject of classes, I think that's a really difficult thing as well, because some people, so for me, I'm much more comfortable on a one-to-one basis where I can take the time and explain things and make sure things are being done correctly. I'm not a natural performer. I would say I've had to really learn like how to stand in front of a group of people and talk to them all at the same time.
Mate,
and
your performance on that inward singing video was terrible, buddy. So you haven't got to tell me.
There's a reason I'm not an actor. That's not a bit of me, that. Do you know how many times I recorded that as well?
Really?
So many times.
I had to edit it as well. Did you notice I had to edit
that was the best version. That was the best version, and it was not.
But be honest with me, how long was you doing it for?
It took me about 45 minutes.
Oh wow!
Yeah, no, it was not. Bear in mind, I had like 4 lines in the
I
whole
do
thing.
appreciate it though. I'm hoping
I
the
really,
listeners do. If you,
I just ballsed up the timings more than anything else. It wasn't the words.
the thing is, I'm not sure if it was easier or harder for you because obviously for me, it was majority of the talking. Whereas you
Mm.
had to like try and time it. So after the
Yeah,
amount of like 3 seconds after what I said, you said that bit or whatever.
yeah, yeah. It was the timings and like the random little. He just starts laughing at points, and I'm like, oh fuck, I missed it
Yeah.
again.
To be fair, it did take me about half an hour, I think, to remember the script.
Yeah, I had a script in
That's
front of me
funny.
as well.
Oh, did you? What? Just
Oh
in
yeah,
brackets laugh.
exactly that. Yeah, yeah. Oh, it's not good. Not good.
It's funny. I did a poll as well. Only a couple of people got back to me on what we should call the listeners.
Okay.
I think it's between us, but I don't know whether that sounds right. I think we're gonna have to. We'll leave it a little bit longer. Between us sounds too much like the
In-betweeners.
in-betweeners.
Yeah.
You can't do betweenese because that sounds like a kids show. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I think
I
we're
don't
just gonna call
know.
them listeners or the one
Welcome,
listener.
listeners. I'll have a think. You got to let stuff like this percolate in the background, and then
Percolate. That's a nice word. Percolate.
Yeah, it's a coffee
That sounds
term. I thought
quite
you'd be familiar
erotic.
with that one.
A coffee term.
Yeah, when you grind your coffee beans and you let them simmer and you let them percolate, and all the coffee starts to come down through the machine. That's percolate.
Oh, all right.
Yeah.
Fucking cow of ornament. Jesus Christ.
But she's numbers, mate. In the
She
back
is
of my head.
numbers. Yeah. Who's
Yeah,
Susan? Susan.
Susie Dent.
That's the one. I'm just so shit with names. I'm just so bad.
Yeah, percolate in my head is just letting. I have an idea in my head, but I let my subconscious just kind of just work it in the background, and eventually, something will come to me.
Talking about that. Talking about brains, right?
Mm.
So obviously, I've gone full time now in my business. I'm not sure.
Yep.
Maybe to be fair, I could just do some free advertisement because no one's paying us for
Yeah, do it.
advertisement. I'll just fuzzy logic. But so basically, I've just finished building my website, and I've built so many websites in my life. But obviously, with this being my own one, I wanted to invest a lot of time studying the best ways and coding and all that lot. And it's the first time I've used AI to make my job so much easier. AI is amazing. I've not really properly looked into it before this, but like AI is unbelievable. So there's actually systems out there which I've purchased now because it just saves so much time. Like I know how to code, but you can literally use AI to code for you. You just put in there what you need, and then it's never perfect. I won't lie. And then it's a lot easier to just ask AI what you want, and then go through it and just change a couple of bits.
Yeah.
It's unbelievable.
Yeah.
So people don't need to learn shit anymore, which worries me a bit.
Well, I mean, so my wife, she's a teacher,
My
and
wife.
My wife.
Sorry.
No, they're actually using AI in schools now as well. So there are AI apps, I guess, that have been developed specifically for schools. And she was telling me about one for difficult readers, so children that don't particularly like reading. So what they do, they have the child come in for their like guided reading session, and they ask them, "What is it that you want to read about?" And kid goes, "I want to read about Godzilla fighting monsters." Sure enough, they punch it in because that's better. Like, it's not good like for them to read about fighting, but they are interested in reading it, and
Engaged.
it's a new story every time, and they love it.
But then is that promoting
Brilliant.
get what you want when you want sort of
Kind of
mindset?
but for an education purpose, is that?
I guess so.
But
So.
so I mean, I've done the stereotypical. Let's have a look at what this can do, and it was like Chat GPT or whatever it is when it first came out. Just going in and just punching in random things, just seeing what comes out. And bear in mind, it's not live AI. I think it was up to like 2018 or something when it was first developed. So you can't get like current affairs news and all this kind of stuff. But some of the stuff it spits out it's unbelievable. Even down to
I don't really understand that side of it. Like I do understand it, but I just don't really utilize that.
It was basically, I think it was developed. from 2016 up to like 2018, 2019, something like that. And it basically has the contents of the internet up to that point, essentially.
Yeah.
So there was an example on the course that I done recently where one of the guys was looking for an answer, and he used ChatGPT, put the question into this exam question that came out, and just gave him the entire answer, word for word, perfect, which is
It is
incredible.
crazy.
But for
It
it to
is
be able
incredible.
to
But surely you'll be able to tell if you're teaching this guy and you know how he writes, you'd know whether it was him or not, right?
yeah, I mean, for sure, but some level of intelligence, we've all been paraphrasing Wikipedia for decades at this point.
Yeah.
It's half my
But what I
degree.
love, what I've been doing last a few days is using AI to edit and create images. So editing images is unbelievable
How does it
because
do that?
this is what I'm saying. It's unbelievable. So I've loved Photoshop for years since
Yeah,
GCSEs. Right, I've always loved like editing photos, and it does take quite a long time to do it perfectly. But
yeah,
AI will do it near enough perfectly, and then you can again what I said earlier with the coding. And then you just like clean up a bit, so you can just highlight. Let's just say there's a photo of me and you. You can
yeah.
just highlight you, select you, and just say turn him into a woman or remove him from the photo, or you can like highlight the background and go put me in front of a beach, and it will just change the background for you.
So,
Like,
sorry, your only input into that is highlight said
typing.
area and
Yeah,
just type a sentence.
yeah, and you haven't even got to highlight it perfectly like we used to back in the day. You could just highlight as much as you want, even if you're including me. You just type in like keep the person in the picture, but change the background so he's in the woods or something.
Well, does
Because
this
it's yeah.
operate through Photoshop, or is it its own exclusive app, or like, how
Well,
does that work?
multiple software use it now. So
Really?
I use it through Photoshop, but multiple third-party software use it. Like I'm assuming it's the same sort of algorithm, the same sort of coding. I don't know. It's just AI, right? But
I mean,
and then if
that,
you create
that's
images,
that's that's
yeah. So
honestly
what I've
fried
been
that's
doing,
fried my brain.
I've literally been obviously I need to take I need photos for the website, right? And I'm like
Mm,
I don't have time in a minute. I need to get my website up and running because I've plunged in the deep end. So I've literally just used AI to create images for me. So I wanted a photo of a drone and a camera, for instance. And if you go
mhm.
onto fuzzy.studio, go onto services, and use my services now and look at the photos.
Input your payment details.
Yeah. Look at the photos. All of them are created through AI and then edited through AI. So basically, I've created a photo using AI. How many times am I fucking using AI now? AI. The word now doesn't make sense to me.
Does this now
AI.
make your cameras, a large amount of your cameras, redundant though?
No, because you need to take photos of people. I can't just
Mm.
type it in a sexy photo of Mike because one doesn't even exist.
You got to get to a certain point on the internet to find them bad boys.
Yeah, page 6 on OnlyFans.
Just saying, very hairy feet on OnlyFans. Like and subscribe, $5.99 a month.
So yeah, fucking hell. That was way too quick to the point where it just sounds true now. But yeah,
Yeah,
so I've
all
literally
about it.
just searched in right. I need a photo of this, and then it will show you like 4 photos. And if you're not happy with them, it will just show you another 4 until you find one that you're happy with. And then if you want to put writing in that photo, but you can't find like a space in the photo to put it, you can just highlight the photo, use AI again to edit it, and say, right, can you like put like a white curtain in this area, or put like a white sort of lighting so the black text will stick out properly, and then it just does it for you. Like, do you know what I mean? It doesn't
This,
require any editing anymore. Like, I'm saving hours, man,
I
and I'm
mean,
talking hours a day.
these are the things that I need AI for, right? And I don't need, I don't want to be looking for, and this could be something like app development, just like a library of different AI apps, like links that will just take you to whatever website you need to go to that can then just do what you need to do. Because
Just Google
I
it, can't
don't
you?
know where to look for this. I didn't know Photoshop did that. I had no idea.
Yeah, but you need like if you were in that sector, you would know.
Yeah,
Do you know
but
what I mean? Whereas
I
you
suppose
go
it's one
through
of these things
TikTok and
where
you just get studies now. That's what you
Well, yeah, I
do.
mean that's more my life. Like I spend a lot of time just researching stuff, which is fundamentally boring. Like it's a large part of my life. But I don't know. I think for that, like on the off chance, like I want to do something for my page, like, and this is where like obviously like your services would be ideal because I'm not the expert. It will take me 4 to 5 times the amount of time that it will take you, and the result would be worse. But like even in like working scenarios, if you need to know an Excel spreadsheet just populated and you're not, it's something you don't do on a daily basis. Like for me, VLOOKUPs were a pain in the ass every time I had to use those. But if you can have just an AI coding stream, just fill in the blanks for you, and then you populate from there. Like work should be getting a lot easier these days.
That'll be the next thing. Like Microsoft will obviously incorporate it with their spreadsheets, I reckon. Like I'm definitely, I would say, I'm an advanced user of Excel to the point where I code in the background using Visual Basic because Excel is amazing piece of equipment. I absolutely love Excel.
100%.
Yeah.
The amazing thing is Excel has not changed since it's first been brought out either. It looks different in terms of like making it look more appealing, but the basic coding.
There's a few more functions, to be honest. There's a lot more functions. Visual Basic wasn't there when it came out. I'm not sure when Visual Basic came out. I'm assuming 10 plus years. But Visual Basic basically just incorporates macros, so you can like run a whole system in the background automatically using data on the internet. And just have it like send emails, for instance, like every hour updating someone, or just there's so much. Like when I was at GCSEs, this is how much of a nerd I am. I basically created Flappy Birds. Remember Flappy Birds, the app?
Yeah.
I basically created that on Excel when I was like 15.
Nice.
I should have patented it, shouldn't I? Like, this is before Flappy Birds even came out.
Well,
it was a helicopter.
Then, like Flash games were like they were just a big thing, weren't they? Now imagine, imagine you could probably sell a program like that in school for like £5, where it gets around like the school browser blocks and all the games websites and all this kind of stuff. You could have made a mint.
Nowadays, I don't even know what it's like. Nowadays, I'm assuming kids just use tablets and stuff, do they?
Yeah, basically. Or they even get given laptops to take home to do homework and stuff like that.
That's crazy. Because when I was in like middle school, there was just one IT room.
Primary school kids get given laptops to go home and do their homework on.
That's mental. So I didn't even have that. I didn't have a computer in primary school. But in middle school, I remember there was one room and there was like 5 computers in it, and you had to like almost take it in turns.
Yep. It's crazy, isn't it? How things have moved on so quickly as well.
I feel so well just saying that.
But like, and you will notice this with your son as well, if he's not already. Like my nephew, when he was 3, he could turn on laptops, tablets, Nintendo Switches, like boot up games.
Oh yeah, he knows how to use the remote control, which is really annoying.
3 years old.
Yeah.
I suppose it's just what you're exposed to, that you'll just get stuff. I honestly feel like I feel like I'm getting old in terms of tech. I know you're not, because you're very much, it's what you need to keep on top of.
I love it.
But the more and more stuff that changed on social media, like it took me a good like 15 minutes today to realize, okay, this video is not going on Instagram. I'm going to have to upload elsewhere. I tried various things, tried a reel at one point, that cut it off, tried splitting it into stories, that was a pain in the ass. So I was like, okay, it's all going to TikTok.
And this is where Fuzzy Logic will help you.
100%.
So with Fuzzy Logic, this is a little bit of an advert, but it isn't at the same time. So with Fuzzy Logic, it really is just for that sort of purpose. It's like people are wasting hours of their day. But at the end of the day, if they want to learn it, perfect. But I could also train them on it. So Fuzzy Logic, the way it works is it's so black and white, right? Because it tells you exactly what you're paying for, and you pay in advance, and you get X amount of hours per month on each subscription. It's all on the website. And you can use credits. It's a credit system, and one credit is 15 minutes. Now, it is hard for people that don't know who I am, but hopefully we'll see through portfolios that 15 minutes for me would potentially be like 4 hours for someone.
Yep.
Because do you know what I mean? Like if somebody wants very simple Excel, it will spend hours doing it. But for me, it would literally take 10 minutes, and I'll literally just charge like 10 quid.
Yep, I can believe it as well, because again, I use social media as an example because it's something that I need to do more of, or I feel like I should do more of, on the basis of, like, I have a sports massage business starting up, and it's doing fine. It's picking up, considering it started in the past like 2 weeks or so. and it's doing fine. I'm getting clients and all this kind of stuff, but I need to do more to advertise that. And inevitably, that's where social media comes in. So as much as I don't like it, it's a requirement for me. Now, I could spend the time and like buy equipment, all this, but you're already there, and you'll spend far less time doing it than what I would. So it makes sense.
Outsourcing in some situations is definitely the answer. And if you're not into tech, and if you're not into social media, or if you don't really know where to start, but you just want the clients, then that's what Fuzzy Logic's about. Because a lot of businesses, they just want to. The reason why they've become self-employed is because they enjoy what they do.
Yep.
Why then spend and waste more of your time trying to learn something that, one, you don't know anything about and you don't really care about, just to get clients?
Yep. Yeah, it's exactly that.
Yeah.
Being self-employed, you are trying to be a jack of all trades, essentially.
Yeah.
But it comes down to like accountants as well. I put it in exactly the same category. Yes, I could do my own self-assessment, but more often than not, each time that I've sent my accounts through to my accountants, because they are good at what they do, they are saving me money above and beyond what they are charging. And therefore it's worth it. It makes sense.
Oh, 100%. It's in the investment, isn't it? Because it's an investment because you're getting the money back. And that's exactly what, I'll stop saying that, but that's exactly what you'd get with Fuzzy Logic. And it's so reasonable. Like, you can see the prices on the website, but it's so reasonable because you're getting your time back. But it is now up to me to obviously sell that and use social media and set that standard for my clients. Of like, you've heard of Fuzzy Logic because I know what I'm doing. You'll see me on social media. So that is now the rest of the next 30 days is just me literally just bugging everyone on social media, because that's what it's about.
I mean, I do think you should do. I know you do a lot of stories and stuff like that, and you're getting reposts and things like this. I don't know if there's more benefit to hitting reels, because if you hit reels and actual posts, then those can actually be shared out as well. So
that is the next stage for me. Now the website's up and running. Like, it's taken me about a week to get that website nice, because obviously the website itself is the system. So every single client can see their own platform where it comes up with like all their orders, all their payments, how many credits they've got left. They can raise trouble tickets through that system. It's just that one, and they can use their phone. It's basically built for people that don't know how to use systems. It's just all nice and easy in your pocket. As soon as you need me, text me and I get it done there and then.
I mean, I've had experience with. Have you ever used Fiverr before?
Yeah, I have used Fiverr. I've not used Fiverr. I know what Fiverr's about.
So my experience of Fiverr was with I was starting to record some YouTube videos, and inevitably I get busy and I don't get time to then carry on with them. But I'm trying to keep on like shorter videos these days, just replying to people, just interacting with people really, and trying to genuinely answer questions and help people as much as I can. But I was putting out some more in-depth YouTube videos, some to do with finance, some to do with like personal development and things like this. And I was just like, well, it's taking me an hour to 2 hours to edit these down and make them, coherent, take out some of the gaps, similar stuff to what we would do with this really. And I was just like, okay, well, I'm going to send this through to Fiverr. Here's a training video, and here is some commentary that I put over the top of it. Put them together. And I just gave them some very brief instructions, but what came back was just so basic. It probably would have taken you about 10 minutes to put together, honestly. And that's what I mean. It's just because you have that ability to communicate so freely. I think that's where people are going to get the benefit from you specifically, because you're going to get the work done quickly because it's what you're good at.
Yeah, the difference between me and Fiverr is I will get to know the client. I'll get to know what their business is. I'll get to know what their view of the future of the business is. And then because we've shared the same vision for that, I will just follow it on. A bit like the latest videos that I've done through Zara. Zara didn't even tell me what she wanted. I've just seen her logo. I've seen the way she works. I've seen what her intentions are over the next 12 months. And then I put that together. Like that's not even the main video. I'm not sure if you've seen it.
Yeah, I've seen it.
That's just a teaser. That's just a teaser video, because
you can tell based on like the colors you've used and like the energy levels you put to it. And I guarantee, eventually when we start recording stuff for either sports massage or like my PT side of things, I guarantee it'll be completely different. And I know that.
Oh, yeah, it will be. Yeah. You're not going to be neon pink. Imagine that as a massage.
Yeah, that's not
like GTA Vice City vibes. People will be expecting like a happy ending to that massage, I'll tell you.
That's extra.
It would be weird though, wouldn't it? A sports massage with a happy ending. Because even the happy ending will be like, I hope you don't mind, just get my elbow in there. Just roll.
Yeah, it's meant to hurt.
Yeah, right. In today's session, there will be a safe word. You can choose a safe word.
Oh god,
that's funny. Oh god, it's been an hour now already.
I know. We come out with the best intentions of trying to stay to this 45 minutes, but it's not happening, is it?
No, I don't think we've even touched your agenda. You wanted to talk more about sports stuff, and I keep bloody interrupting you.
No, it's cool. I mean, we covered one thing about the the fitness personality types and all this kind of stuff, but I just thought it was a interesting thing. But that, that's kind of what this podcast is, because it's how a conversation should flow in a weird sort of way. Just something comes up and you go, oh, that's just crossed my mind. I think it's more organic. I think it's better.
Yeah.
Like I don't like the structure so much of we're going to talk about here's the agenda today, minutes of the meeting. No,
I don't really listen to podcasts where there's like an actual structure. I do, because you've got to be in the mood for that then, haven't you? Like I do listen to some motivational podcasts, but if you're not in the mood for a motivational podcast, then you're not going to listen to it, right? Whereas with us, it's just like people don't really know what to expect. What are they going to talk about today? Let's talk about AI and happy endings, please. Yes, your prayers have been answered.
Yeah, such a contrast. I mean, the types of podcasts I really like listening to are ones that you can tell the host has a loose structure in terms of some questions that they want to hit, but then they've got such an expert on that one question suddenly can become this huge deep dive into a rabbit hole of knowledge. It's just pouring out of their brain. Like you sent me one about what was it? It was the guy from Dragon's Den.
Whoop.
Yeah, the Whoop lady. Yeah, and really interesting. Yeah, great listen. I don't know if you listen to much of Andrew Huberman as well. He's well worth listening to.
No. So I only really listened to this. So that's the Diary of a CEO, or What I Sent You.
Yes, yeah.
I've got his book, and it was funnily enough, it was his book that got me into his podcasts because which is the other way around, really. But he is good. But his podcasts, again, they're like an hour and a half long, and it is quite like just full on because there's no comedy. It's just learning and motivation as well, and try and get some inspiration in your life. But whereas I kind of like
background noise as well, because you've really got to pay attention to that. You almost want a notebook there to start jotting stuff down.
Yeah, it's one of those things, isn't it? Like you when you watch TV, but you don't really fancy watching something where you want to focus on, so you just stick like Modern Family on, or fucking Family Guy or whatever.
Yeah, I think it's the same thing, similar thing with Andrew Huberman as well. He's very, very knowledgeable. Like he's probably so I think he works at Stanford University in America as a neuroscientist, and it's just a lot of knowledge and just pours out his brain constantly.
No, it's crazy.
Well worth listening.
It's a bit like you, though. You are like that. Whether you like it or not, you are obsessed with that, with all the studies and.
Yeah, I suppose in my realm, my realm's kind of weird though because it's a cross between fitness and science, which is kind of a strange line to tread in a weird sort of way because. Again, not to stereotype, but the majority of the fitness community are not interested in studies and science. Some are, and I suppose that's kind of my niche. But then equally,
the thing is, because you know what you're talking about,
at
least you're doing it the right way, and you'll be studying the most modern sciences rather than back when Arnold Schwarzenegger was a bodybuilder. Things have changed massively.
Yeah, I mean, some of the stuff that I incorporate, I'll explain it to people in the gym. Like I was explaining some stuff to two girls I was training with earlier. And they're being questioned on certain things by, is this right? Is this wrong? Like, are you doing this wrong? It's like, just trust me. This is the why. I can explain the why, even down to like personal training. So the course that you're currently doing, I think is massively outdated. It's enough. It's a tick box exercise to an extent, but I guarantee you'll already know more than what that course will teach you. You'll kind of get to the end of it and be like,
everyone that I've spoken to about
is that it now?
Exactly the same thing.
Yeah. It's sort of like your driving test. You're getting the license and then you kind of set loose essentially,
Yeah. Which is fair enough, because at first I approached it with, I want to learn every single bit of this course. But obviously, because of what's happened with my full-time job and just jumping into fuzzy logic, I'm just going, let's just fucking fast track this shit now because I know what I'm talking about, get it done, and then I'll learn as I go.
Yeah.
But it is having that passion and finding your own niche. Your niche is the one-to-ones. And But did you know that before you started as a PT? You probably didn't. You just got to find that, haven't you?
No, so I mean, I honestly, I didn't, for my entire first year of personal training, I did not do any classes. When I first started doing classes, I was really nervous because that is so far removed from my comfort zone, which I think is a good thing to get out of as well.
Oh, 100%.
And, it's also good in terms of a gym context because you get to speak to people that, don't genuinely train on the gym floor for a lot of people. They exclusively do classes. And, I know plenty of really great people from doing classes.
There's so many.
Yeah.
And there's so many. And I fully respect it, to be honest with you, because it's one of those things where it's like it's then a sport, isn't it? Like people don't really like going to the gym because they don't enjoy it, and it is a weird thing to enjoy, isn't it? Just pushing weights around.
Yeah, 100%.
But doing a class, you're engaging, you're making friends. It is an actual fun thing to do.
Yeah, and that's exactly it. I mean, I know some people that get kind of annoyed when people are talking during the class, but like you got to bear in mind if that is what makes that class enjoyable for them.
Yeah, exactly.
That's what's going to keep them coming back. That's what's going to get them fitter, and it gives them that community feel. And that's what a class is for, essentially. That's what group training is really good for. So I don't think that should ever really be criticised at any point.
No.
Okay,
but you can jump on it, can't you? You got to like, do you know what I mean? You can banter with that.
Yeah.
As a trainer,
people need to be working hard enough that they can't talk, and I think it's get that balance, So yeah.
Exactly.
But I do that same thing. Like I'll be training. I'll be taking a class, and people take the piss out of me. I'll take the piss out of them. It's all quite lighthearted, But you got to know your audience as well.
Right. There's a couple of things that I wanted to talk about. We'll move it to next week. It's fucking been an hour already. God,
it goes, doesn't it? It really goes.
It does go. Yeah. Right, your homework is to watch another 10 minutes of Traitors.
6 weeks to actually get through an episode.
It's so good.
I might bung it on now. I might. Right, I'm probably going to go to bed in like an hour or so. I'm going to put it on now. I'm going to message you in about 50 minutes and explain I'm very unhappy with you.
Just stick with it. Just stick with it.
Yeah.
Because basically, right, I won't ruin it for you, but there's a guy in there. He's just a complete psycho. He's a traitor. He's a complete psycho. Because he'll be talking to someone, I don't know what they're called now, a safe person. That's not a traitor. And he's obviously convinced himself that he's also safe. And then you'll like skip it back to him talking in front of the camera and just laughing and going, "Ha, what a fool, what a dickhead," sort of thing. Can't wait to kill them tonight. And I'm like, this guy's a fucking psycho.
Yeah, yeah.
This guy needs help. Like, how is he so good at this? Well, I don't know. I don't pay that much attention to their lives. But it's
from the bit I saw, there was like when they're lining themselves up, whether they think they're going to win, he put himself first.
Andrew, yeah, that's Andrew. So yeah, he I don't want to ruin anything for you, but he's not a traitor. He doesn't start. Yeah, he does not a traitor. But so Claudia Winkleman picks the traitors,
right? And they're the traitors throughout, then, yeah.
Yeah, or unless they get voted out or something.
Yeah,
yeah, it is really good. Stick with it. It is good. It is good. There's a US version as well.
I mean, I did a little video earlier on alcohol and like how it like atrophies your brain and kills brain cells and stuff. And I feel like this is my equivalent.
I need to watch that video.
It's riveting. You'll love it.
I've actually done quite well. I've not drank yet, and there wasn't even an intention. But I've not drank yet this year. There was no dry January. There's no plan for it. It was just, look, alcohol is just not really doing me any favors.
Yeah,
like, I want to be waking up every single morning early. But what I used to do last year, we're starting on another podcast here, aren't we? But last year, my mindset was, if I'm not going to the gym in the morning, it's an opportunity to drink alcohol.
Okay.
So then every single morning where I would have a lay-in, I would wake up tired because my body clock should have woken up at 5 a.m. So it's just naturally tired. And now it's hungover and dehydrated. So I'll wake up on a Sunday morning feeling like I've just hibernated for 2 weeks.
Yeah, I think you'll enjoy that video. It goes into a little bit. There is some biochemistry in there as well. So, but it's essentially
that sounds really engaging.
I'll give you
there's some sciencey stuff in there for you.
I'll give you the nutshell. But basically, you drink alcohol, your cortisol levels spike, and it's interesting because they don't just spike when you're drinking the alcohol.
I'm already yawning. Sorry.
The cortisol levels will stay elevated even after your body's finished processing it. And then alcohol also has quite a nasty effect on your HPTA, so that's your hypothalamic pituitary thyroid axis, adrenal axis as well, which basically governs all the hormones in your body. So it skews everything. It fucks everything, basically. So if you're in a gym context, if you're training, you're damaging muscle cells, which you have worked so hard to build. Acetaldehyde, which is what alcohol gets broken down into, targets all cells. So not only is it targeting muscle cells that you've already built, it's also limiting your recovery and your ability to rebuild those same cells and get back into the gym and carry on. So it's all negative.
Some people wouldn't give a fuck about that, to be honest with you, because they're not going to the gym.
Yep.
And to be honest with you, even though I am going to the gym, I completely understand what you were saying, but last year me still wouldn't have been like, well, I don't give a fuck. But I'm more focused on the mental health side of it, which again is the same applications. It's the same sort of shit. It's like it is not doing you any favors.
Yep.
But what you did mention in that video is two glasses a week or whatever.
Yep.
Is the maximum until it starts to impact you.
100%.
So you're not saying that you can't have alcohol. What you're saying is
can.
Like just provide some sort of sustainability towards it.
Yep. And I also went into some of the justifications that people tend to use. So like some people try to have a glass of red wine every night with dinner because there's antioxidants in it. Dude, eat some fruit. Like you can't justify that.
Do you know what I've been obsessed with recently? Because I've stopped drinking energy drinks as well, which is something that I was so bad with. So, oh God, this is another story of mine. So I used to be obsessed with energy drinks when I was a teenager. It then caused a, oh my God, what's the word? I had an ulcer, stomach ulcer. I had a stomach ulcer.
Okay.
I thought I was having a heart attack. Fucking hell. This is a long story.
How many are you drinking, dude?
So my parents owned a pub and we were getting energy drinks really like cheap. Like we'd go to like Costco every day almost. And I would fill up. I had like a big energy drink fridge in my bedroom, and I was probably drinking 2 or 3 a day for quite a while.
Yeah.
And then I thought I was having a heart attack. But my parents were out. They came home and there was an ambulance outside. I honestly thought I was dying. And then, obviously, after scans, they just said that you got a stomach ulcer. It's quite serious. And then, even now, my dad takes the piss out of me because I thought I was having a heart attack, but actually, it was just a bad belly. That's what he calls it. Just a little bit of a bad belly. Just like, fuck off. I was in so much pain.
I mean, have you heard the story of it was actually a personal trainer who fancied himself a bit of a chemist. So he brought himself all the raw ingredients to make his own pre-workout. And I mean, how much do you remember from chemistry? GCSE. But
I had quite a hot teacher. That's about it.
When you're working out your calculations, like 1,000 milligrams is equal to a gram. Well, he basically got his ratios wrong tenfold.
Oh, fuck.
So he made this pre-workout for himself, drank it, and he gave himself a heart attack and died.
That's mental, eh?
Yeah, he was way off on his calculations.
So one thing that I am worried about, which I should start doing, is every time I make myself a coffee, I don't measure it out. I literally just go, monk. And I shouldn't be doing that because I could be taking way too much caffeine. But I only drink 1, maximum 2 a day of coffee. Honestly, it's not like I'm having like...
So long as the mug's not this big and you're not like dumping half a jar, you'll probably be fine. But yeah, you'll be all right.
But some days I'm just like donk, and then all of a sudden it's like it tastes like fuel. And I'm like, okay, I better slow down here.
Nice.
I'm just so lazy. I am just so lazy with certain things. I'm just so lazy with. I can't be asked to...
as the person that would have a coffee machine though. Like
I would
coffee machine.
If my wife liked coffee, then we would 100% have a coffee machine. Like, but we have we're going to sound so posh now, but we have Virgin Pure. I'm not sure if you've heard of that. It's like instant boiling water and instant filtered water, and it like measures your cup so it stops at the top. Which again, it promotes impatience. Like, because you put your hot water, you put the cup underneath hot water, you just press a button,
instant.
So nowadays, I'm just like, if I have to wait for a kettle, I'd rather kill myself. that's quite dramatic, but you know what I mean.
In my head,
you just get used to it.
You would have like this You know the Wallace and Gromit setup where he's just got the automated
it's not.
morning
I'm not
routine?
Inspector Gadget, mate.
That's where my brain goes for you. Like, you'd have a smart plug with a coffee machine with an alarm set so that you're getting up. Yeah,
everything in our house is smart. Like, but that's because I love productivity. I love to get on with things. I don't want to wait. Like, I absolutely hate waiting for a microwave. Don't worry, I don't just stand there and watch the microwave. But that is the one thing you can't get away from. Like, remember Back to the Future, right? By now, we should have those instant microwaves. Well, they called them hydrators, didn't they? It was like a tiny pizza, and then the pizza just turned massive.
Yeah.
Where the fuck's that? I need that in my life. That's what I need. AI. Yeah. It'll be AI cooking for us soon. That's what'll happen.
I mean, in theory, like, that shouldn't take all that much to do, really. You surely just need, like, something to control the start time, and when you want it to
be a sex robot. The sex robots will be taught how to make dinner.
I mean, I'm here for it. I am. I've said all along, like, when I'm
glad your wife doesn't listen.
She'd be horrified. My two things that I would go for would be driver. So if cars can get automated, great. I don't enjoy driving.
They are. They will be. They already are. There's certain states there.
Yeah. Well, Teslas do it as well. I don't know the automated thing, but I driver and chef. I've said that all along. If I can do those two things, I'm good.
I don't know if I'd trust saying that. It's like in both of those, your life is at risk. So it is quite hard, isn't it? Like, imagine if they got like the vinegar mixed up with bleach or something. I don't know.
How dumb do you think chefs are?
No, the robots, you twat. If a robot picks up bleach.
On that, I've seen some. I think of interesting. I don't know how we'll do it yet, like podcasts in person, but I've seen some interesting like eating challenges with like extreme foods that I think would be really interesting.
So I've already looked into this podcast thing. But anyway, sorry, carry on. Sorry, I'm doing it again.
There's one specifically, which is where you mentioned bleach. So bleach itself doesn't taste bad. Like the chemical that's going to bleach, you could drink it without really noticing. So they add a chemical to it to make it awful, basically, to really like you'll have a sip of it and like bleh, make you sick. But it's called Bitrex, and it's it's completely harmless, the substance itself, but it's the most bitter substance ever. Wow. Like you can't get anything close in like nature, essentially. So I think that could be fun.
What, drinking bleach?
No, Bitrex. So you basically like you can put it onto food or just whatever happens to be, put it into dip with nachos or whatever else and eat it.
Where do you even buy that?
You can buy it on Amazon. You can find it on Google somewhere. Dark web.
I don't know if I'd want to try it.
I think it'd be funny.
So you can actually get to taste bleach without dying, basically.
It won't. I mean, come away from the bleach. Think of it more. It's a powder chemical that they add to stuff.
But it will taste like what bleach tastes like, right?
Yeah, basically.
Yeah.
Yeah, but the thing is, you can add it to food where you're not necessarily going to get the taste. You just get the bitterness from it. The fun starts when you try and drink water afterwards, from what I gather.
Oh, okay. Well, but yeah, I've already looked into the whole podcast live thing. It's not an issue. We just need so basically, let's have a few cameras on us, so then I'll just edit it afterwards. Anyway, that's boring shit. But yeah, we'll do that at some point. We'll do a special at some point.
Do we need a specific microphone for that, or will these function?
Yeah, it'll be wireless ones on our person.
Oh,
yeah, sexy, right?
Yeah.
But yeah, we'll end it there because I've already got an hour and a half to edit. So good night.
We're not good at being concise.
We're not.
No.
But if we have listeners, that's all that matters.
Yep.
But yeah, we'll end it there, guys. Please give us a follow on Instagram. Follow us on TikTok as well. We are now on TikTok. There's only one video, but we need to make another one at some point.
Acting, if you're that interested.
The next idea is from you, Mike. Whatever TikTok you want to do. I don't know if we want to do that. There's a lot. I know these like old challenges, but like that one crisp challenge and like stuff like that, or the Sprite challenge. We could try stuff like that.
I mean, I'd be fine with the Sprite challenge, but I don't like bananas.
What? You know about bananas?
I really don't like bananas. They're just.
I never mentioned bananas.
That's the Sprite challenge, no? You got to eat like 2 bananas and then neck a bottle of Sprite.
Where the fuck does the bananas come into it?
That's
I
the
thought you
Sprite
just drank a
challenge.
bottle of Sprite.
No, the Sprite challenge is you got to eat 2 bananas and drink a bottle of Sprite.
What? I've never seen 2 people. What? I've never seen anyone eat 2 bananas.
Yeah,
and
you
then
have homework
all
now,
the challenges that are
because
coming up, are they just bottling the Sprite or down in the
no,
Sprite
you need to see the banana one. That's something special. That is.
because the banana comes up.
Oh, 100%. It reacts in your stomach with the Sprite, and it just gets nasty.
I've never seen that. I wonder what the fuck you were on about.
Picture like Mentos going into Pepsi. That's the level.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
I'd rather not picture that, but yeah, I understand what you're saying.
This is your homework. You need to
we'll
look
just
at
do the
this.
normal Sprite challenge without bananas, please.
Okay.
Just eating 2 bananas sounds enough. That sounds like a challenge.
I feel like we're missing a trick. Like we need to get some eating challenges going. We need to get some nasty stuff going. Bring some
Mate, I've
guests
done
in and get them through.
eating challenges are behind me now. Since I failed their chicken wings, I can't do any more now.
Yeah, that's more volume stuff. I'm talking just weird shit. It'd be fun.
Spicy stuff. So you don't like? No, you do like spicy stuff, don't you?
I'm okay with spicy stuff. I feel like you like spicy stuff way more than I do.
Oh yeah, I am. I can't eat anything without spiciness now.
Like that, the hot ones, the last dab, that terrifies me. Having seen the reactions that other people have,
the last dab is fine. I've had that. It's the bomb. That's the one that will kill you.
The bomb, right? Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think I got rid of it because I got rid of it just for some reason. I was having anxiety that my son would get hold of it, so I had to throw it away before he was born. I don't know why.
Do it again.
Yes, I do that. I'd rather him drink bleach, to be honest. Right, okay, we'll end it there. Yeah, so just follow us, please, guys. If you like the podcast, give us a rating and a review, and just keep supporting us. Really appreciate the support. If you can, just share it, mate. Just share the fuck out of it, please.
We need listeners.
We need listeners, guys. I really appreciate it. We'll have a guest on soon. Have you got anything lined up for next week?
I will find out if they are free.
Yeah, if not, I'll see what I can do, and we will catch you next week. Bye.
Bye-bye.